All right, guys, we are live today on Self-Directed IRA Saturday. I appreciate everyone showing up today. So we're just going to give everyone kind of a second or two to go ahead and log in. Just so you guys are aware, it is Memorial Day weekend, right? Now, a lot of times people will mix this up with Veterans Day. So don't do that, right? Really what this is to celebrate those soldiers that have either passed away or given their life, and when I say given their life, I mean really sacrificed not just their life, but really sacrifice their entire well-being to be part of the military that really keeps the U.S. safe. So really, if you're on here, make sure you go ahead and just thank any of the vets, maybe thank your grandparents if they were involved in any type of war or anything along those lines. Now, to help honor some of those, Quest is going to do some special things for Memorial Day and the Memorial Day weekend by waiving multiple fees or at least giving you discounts on fees for any type of application you may want to start. I like to bring that up as well because right now the Roth IRA is a big topic of conversation in and at the Congress level. For those of you guys unaware, the Secure Act passed back in 2020, and now the Congress has at their doorsteps Secure Act 2.0. So we're going to spend a little bit of time today and talking about some of those things that are going to be going on and what Congress is really looking at. Now, as we're going about these things, I need everyone out there that is live to be leveraging the chat box. Right? Use the chat box to pitch your deals. Use the chat box to maybe network with individuals. Use the chat box to ask myself some questions. Now, our speaker, unfortunately, today could not make it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just talk about, like I said, those things right there at the Congress level, right? And once again, it was what we call Secure Act 2.0. So let's go and just dive right on into that area. So what is the Secure Act 2.0? All right, the Secure Act literally stands for setting every community up for enhancement, right? What do they mean by enhancement? This is really unique because unfortunately, the younger generation does not save. I can tell you when I was growing up, my dad, my grandparents, stuff, they always were trying to tell me to save your money, save your money, save your money. Put it in a retirement account, put it in a savings account. Man, this generation coming around, they don't do a lot of saving. And Congress has started to realize this. So they're trying to go ahead and help people and give them incentives to save money today for retirement, right? And it's not just for retirement. This is also going to be talking about things from student loans all the way up to, obviously, Roth IRAs, SEP IRAs, and even current people, as you get a brand new job, how it will affect your current 401k. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the acts and stuff that we saw pop on up over the Secure Act that is coming about. So what I did is I wanted to make sure everyone also understood how does a bill get passed. Unfortunately, a lot of people actually really don't understand a lot of this stuff at those levels. So first off, when a bill is created, it is given to the House of Representatives, which is about 436 individuals, 435 individuals, something like that. Don't quote me on that number exactly. But what happens is all those individuals at the House of Representatives that is split up between Republicans and Democrats all have to sit there and vote on the bill. Once the House votes on the bill, it goes to the Senate level. The Senate votes on it, and then finally it goes to the president. The president makes that final signature. Now, normally when a bill is presented at the House of Representatives for them to vote on, it's usually pretty evenly split. You'll see a lot of bills, hey, 50-50. The Republicans say this, Democrats say this. And it creates a big argument amongst everybody. And eventually, as it's being voted on, one side might outweigh the other side just by a little bit. What's unique about the Secure Act 2.0 is 94% of the House of Representatives, both Republican and Democrat sides, both voted on this and said, yep, we agree with everything that's in this act, right? That passed the House on May 3rd of 2022, all right? So just a few weeks ago. This means because it's such a high aspect, it is most likely going to go ahead and pass the Senate level. Look at that. I'm messing up things on my keyboard. You can tell I'm not the most computer savvy person. Anyway, so let's figure out what sections are the most important about the Secure Act coming up. All right. And I kind of broke it down to 7 key takeaways. Right now, those 7 key takeaways, and I'm going to send everyone out there links so you guys can go ahead and check it out yourself. Right. But It comes down to section 101, which is an automatic enrollment aspect. Section 106, which is going to really talk about RMDs and how they're going to be increasing over time. Section 108, which talks about catch-up contributions, pretty much for your SEPs, simples, IRAs, 401ks, etc., which also indirectly involves section 603, which we'll talk a little bit about the Roth catch-up. Remember, this is why I brought up the Roth very early on. Section 109 for student loans, and section 601 for SEPs and simple Roth contributions. The last one is going to be section 322, for prohibited transactions. Now, when we look at all these 7 sections right here, there's actually a total of about 35 different areas, but these were the 7 that were the most important out there to everybody. All right, so let's dive into just section 101 first and talk about automatic enrollment. What does automatic enrollment mean? Starting in the year of 2023, anyone who starts a brand new job will automatically be enrolled into their employer's 401k plan, assuming you met the vesting requirements. Now, most companies out there, you don't automatically get enrolled. You have to fill out some paperwork to make sure you're contributing to your 401k. Right? Now, if you're on there and you're contributing to that and you're automatically enrolled, 3% of your paycheck will be forced into that 401k. 3%. So if you made $100,000 a year, that's $3,000 is automatically being thrown into that retirement account. Now, this will also increase every single year by 1%. Interesting. So over a 10-year time frame, it can max out at 10%, but it will consistently be increasing from 3%, 4%, 5%, 6% every single year. Up to 10% of your paycheck will be contributed to the 401k automatically. All right. Now, I was wondering, I was like, man, what happens if you're one of those people out there and you're struggling? You're a single mom or something along those lines. You're working at Walmart. You don't make a lot of money. You're already living paycheck to paycheck. Losing 3% of your paycheck automatically going to the 401k can be very scary, can be very detrimental to some people out there as income. Right? A lot of people on this call are not in that call are not in that position, because we are all pretty fortunate. We're all real estate investors. We all make money outside of our current jobs, which is really good. So talking about this, why would they keep increasing it by 1%? Well, their thought process is, hey, the new generation, they have a lot of subscriptions, right? You have a subscription to Hulu, a subscription to Netflix, a subscription to Disney Plus. You also have subscriptions to the gym and subscriptions to your multivitamin companies and all sorts of other things. The really thought process is, hey, look, the next generation, if they're being forced to automatically enroll, most likely they will not unenroll. So if you are one of those unfortunate people that don't quite make enough money and are living paycheck to paycheck, you're able to unenroll from the 401k plan. So it's nice to know, hey, look, they gave you an option, but for starters, going to automatically enroll you. I think this is kind of unique. I do know that right now you need about $2 million if you were to retire today. $2 million. That's assuming you're only going to live off about $80,000 a year. Most of you out there do not have, and this includes myself, up to $2 million saved up because you did not start soon enough. So I kind of like this automatic enrollment idea. And it's nice that they allow you to unenroll if you need to. So let's dive right into the next section then, section 106, I think. Yep, 106. Talking about RMDs and how those RMDs are going to increase slowly over time. So what is an RMD? RMD stands for Required Minimum Distribution. Most of you out there have a retirement account that is tax deferred. You're deferring taxes until you're older, right? Well, if I'm out there and I'm going to be deferring taxes till I'm older, I can defer them all the way up to the age of 72 right now. At 72, the IRS steps in and says, hey, you're getting older. You're going to kick the bucket soon. You need to pull out that money and pay me some taxes. Well, we all know that the lifespan of the average individual is increasing. So for 2023, they're going to increase that to the age of 73. Now, last time R&D ages increased and went from 70 and a half to 72. And this made a lot of confusion for CPAs, tax attorneys, even for IRS auditors and people at the Congress level. Because if you were 71, did you have to take an RMD? Did you not have to take an RMD? How was it calculated? There was a lot of confusion in this area. So knowing this and honestly learning from their mistakes, they're like, hey, look, let's spread out how often we increase the RMDs. So they already have it written in there. Hey, look, RMDs will increase to age 74 in 2030 and age 75 to 2033. That's nice. Man, I'll tell you, the entire IRA specialist team was studying and reading and back and forth, talking to attorneys, talking to a guy named JP, who literally creates and writes the 1099s, the 5498s, and no one seemed to be able to figure out how to properly calculate the RMDs, and you'd always get different answers. So by spreading out when they increase the RMD ages, will drastically decrease any problems your CPAs or tax attorneys will have. All right. So let's dive into the next section, right? Section 108. Now, Section 108 and Section 603, I kind of combined here on the same slide, strictly because they're almost going to go hand in hand. So Section 108 will increase a catch-up contribution to your 401k plans or 401k style plans like a 403B, 457, TSP, TRS, etc. Right? So if you have one of these type of plans, right, your catch-up contribution is going to increase by $10,000. But there's a button there. It increases by $10,000 only if you're the ages of 62, 63, or 64. Now, I had to do a lot of digging on why did they choose these three specific ages to allow you to increase that catch-up contribution. It was very unique. And what I kind of came down to is it seems like when people are making catch-up contributions, more than 80% of the population makes those catch-up contributions between those 3 years. This is probably because they're getting ready to quit their job. They truly are looking ready to retire. They're looking more at the future. So the IRS or the Congress realized it and said, hey, look, if you're in between those ages, we're going to allow you to contribute an extra $10,000 to your retirement account. That's pretty cool. But Section 603 added an extra component in there. That $10,000 contribution that we're talking about must be made to a Roth component of the retirement plan or an after-tax contribution. What happens though if my employer doesn't offer Roth 401ks or offer Roth 403bs? Well, now they are. Congress realizes that the Roth IRA is a powerful retirement tool. And unfortunately, Social Security, by the time I reach the age of 70, is probably not going to be around. So by allowing people to contribute more money to a Roth component, right, or a Roth IRA, a Roth 401k, will drastically allow them to save more for retirement in the long run. So I kind of like this thought process. Understanding that, hey, look, we're going to just a very small temporary window. We're going to let you contribute an extra 10 grand each year. That extra 10 grand can go right to a Roth. You could potentially be contributing more than $30,000 every single year to a Roth IRA, a Roth 401k, a Roth component of your retirement plan. That is what this section right here allows. Someone out there trying to find me a negative in it, and I'm going to say you're crazy. So I really like this section. I thought it was unique that this is something that Congress kind of already presented. So diving into the next area, we're going to get a little bit more and change gears slightly. We're talking about Section 109, which has to deal with the younger generation on the student loan payments. So far, everything we talked about, notice it's talking about when you're older, right? Catch-up contributions and R&Ds. Well, Section 109 specifically targets the younger individuals in college currently or getting ready to graduate college. They realized that, hey, if you just graduated college, you may have a lot of student loan debt. If you have a lot of student loan debt, what's going to happen is you might have to make the decision, well, do I want to contribute to my employer 401k or do I want to make a student loan payment? I can't afford to do both. Well, if that's you and you're one of those people who can't afford to do both, don't worry. Section 109 has you taken care of. Every time you make a student loan payment, your employer can count that as a contribution to your 401k and allows them to still match as if you contributed to the 401k. That's pretty cool. So without you even putting money in your retirement plan, Section 109 is going to allow your employer still to put money as long as you're making a student loan payment. They really are trying to help people out there with those student loan debts. Using this section right here, I thought it was really unique. And once again, this takes effect in 2023, assuming it passes the Senate. All right. We're going to kind of keep going with this. We're going to start on then section 601, which talks about SEPs and simple IRAs and allowing those to have a Roth contribution or Roth component to them. Currently, if you're out there and you're self-employed, right? Maybe you have a really small business. We see this with a lot of doctors' offices or attorneys' offices, right? You may, hey, set up a SEP IRA for yourself, a self-employed pension. Every time you make a contribution up to 25% of what you pay yourself, it goes into the separate SEP IRA, and it is considered a tax deduction to yourself or to the employer. But it's never allowed for you to make a Roth contribution. So always had to jump through hoops. You had to fill a Roth conversion form and kind of go through all these motions to go ahead and get it into a Roth. And it creates a bunch of 1099s, a bunch of 5498s. Well, what's nice is starting in 2023, assuming this passes, the SEP and the simple IRA both will allow for Roth contributions. That is unbelievable. Now, there's two different sides of this thing, but what's really nice about it is just being allowed to contribute up to $61,000 a year into a SEP Roth as a contribution. Unfortunately, unlike the 401k, it's not really going to have a separate component, so you're going to have to track this yourself. If this is you out there, you're probably going to either A, want to set up two SEP IRAs, one for the tax-deferred portion, one for the Roth portion. All right? But one separate aspect of this that I noticed is last year, there was a lot of talk, is Congress going to get away from the Roth IRA? Is Congress going to take away our ability to do Roth conversions? Is Congress going to make sure that we no longer have the ability to grow money tax-free because of the whole Peter Thiel incident? All right. If you aren't familiar with him, he made $5 billion in a Roth IRA. Lucky him. All right. Nope. They're not. As a matter of fact, if we notice, a lot of these sections in the Secure Act 2.0 are strictly going to be focusing more on the Roth component, the Roth IRA, the Roth 401k, the Roth SEP, the Roth Simple. They're making it easier for everyone out there to leverage and utilize their Roth aspects of their retirement accounts. So I really like this one. It was something completely separate. All right. The final thing that I kind of want to talk about is Section 322. Now, Section 322 is one that's going to affect everyone out there from a self-directed standpoint. So from a self-directed standpoint, 322 is going to change how people view prohibited transactions. All right. So what has always been the case in an IRA is if you did a prohibited transaction, your entire IRA ceases to exist the year you did it. The IRS could backdate that transaction drastically. Now, the problem is when they backdate this transaction, you're probably going to not only owe taxes for the distribution amount, but probably penalties because of the backdating aspect. Well, good news is they are no longer going to treat a prohibited transaction and have it affect the entire IRA. It's now only going to affect that one individual transaction. So instead of blowing up the IRA, it only blows up the transaction. The bad news is for those of you out there with checkbook control, all your transactions are inside some sort of separate LLC or separate trust. For you guys, it's still going to blow up the entire retirement account. And this is actually allowing the IRS to dig deeper into those checkbook control manners. So this is something, if you're out there and you're doing a lot of self-directed, it is both a pro for those of you who might be doing investments on the line or kind of in the gray area. And it's also a con for those of you out there with checkbook control. So just be careful in there. Notice, guys, in each one of these links, I've kind of cited it. So just real quick, in conclusion, the Secure Act 2.0 has passed the House with a 94% approval rating and will probably pass the Senate in either June or July. All right. Congress is really becoming aware of self-directed IRAs and making sure people can find ways to contribute the Roth IRAs. If you have questions about the Secure Act 2.0, I want you to take a minute, give Quest a call, and talk to anyone on the IRA specialist team. All of us have gone through a lot of training in these areas and are more than welcome to help you out. So from there, I'm going to stop sharing my screen real quick. And I just want to talk about some of the topics and stuff that I see up here. William, the presenter on the Launching the Fund, has been rescheduled. Yes. So, guys, I do apologize. Once again, our original speaker was a guy named Bridger. He just could not make it. He tried so hard, but things happen. You got to love the live audience and the live online feeds. I do see a couple other comments in here, but if you guys do have questions, take advantage of us setting you up retirement accounts, because the Secure Act could be changing a lot of what we're doing. It's why this week alone, we will be waiving the application fees or for any active military personnel or anyone who retired from the military. If you are not active military and you're looking to set up a retirement account, we'll give you 50% off the application fee right off the bat, just because. If you know anyone out there that has served our country, make sure you thank them. You know, most of them have been through a lot, you know. So ultimately, guys, I know this was not the topic that we were all looking for. And it was something that I just thought was really unique just because it did pass the House. And I wanted to at least educate everyone out there just right on the spot. So if you do have any questions, don't forget to sign up for our up and coming expo. This is the last weekend that the expo tickets are early bird pricing. So you can get them for about $150 right now. I'm going to let our moderator go ahead and put a quick link up there and just share that on the screen. Our expo is right around the corner, where we bring up to 30 to 40 speakers from across the U.S. to teach you guys on different topics. It's going to be one of the biggest real estate events of the year. So once again, guys, I do apologize for the other speaker not making it. But if you do have any questions, please give us a call at 855-FUN-IRAs. And I really do hope that this just random topic on the Secure Act kind of did help out. So thanks, everybody, and I'll see you around.